Greetings to all, Chancellor North Wales here. This is the November-December 2018 build, the Su-15 Flagon A and the Su-15 Flagon G two-seater. Both kits are Trumpeter 1/72nd scale. In the early 1960s in the Soviet Union, fighter aircraft were developed as part of an interception system to destroy incoming bombers. The interception system consisted of a network of ground radars, naval ground controller, intercept GCI system, medium-range air-to-air missiles, and an airborne launch platform for missiles tipped with powerful radar. The Su-15 Flagon was a twin-engine supersonic interceptor developed by the Soviet Union in the 1960s to replace the Su-11, which was becoming obsolete. The Su-15 was a major part of the Soviet interceptor force and was well liked by its pilots because of its two engines, automatic landing system, and light handling. It also became dubious for other reasons, including the shoot-down of the KAL 007, which killed 269 civilians. Contemporary aircraft were like the Yak-28 Firebar, the Tu-128 Fiddler, and the highly successful MiG-25 Foxbat. These aircraft were very much the backbone of Soviet air defense during the Cold War. In this slide you can now see detailed images of the two types we're looking at. The earlier version with its plain delta wing and the latter version with the cranked wing. That came about to improve the low speed performance, particularly in landing. So the aircraft speed was Mach 2.1, could fly to 18,000 meters altitude, and its normal armament was two AA-3 ANAB missiles and 2 to 4 AFIDs. You can see here the two types. The heavier missiles were carried on the outboard pylon and the lighter ones on the inboard pylon. The early version, which you can see here, had a different radar dome, much more simply pointed one, and different engines. They were operated in later versions, and you can see here quite nice view of the new wing form. This type of aircraft was very much about getting there fast, delivering its ordnance, and getting out. Quick interception. I bought the Flagon A from the now gone Wrexham Model Centre and the Flagon G from the Cosford Model Show a few years ago. Both kits were around £15, which is, I think, fairly reasonable for what they are. As can be seen, the two kits represent the single and the two-seater version. The main differences were the leading wing engines, radar, and the engines, as I've said before. But nice colour schemes there. The two decal sheets were pretty similar, though the two-seater markings has also markings for the Ukrainian version as well. Though I think there were issues with the register of some of them, and hence we have a separate sheet. Each kit comes on 5 sprues of good quality with finely recessed panel lines. The fuselage, tails and weapons are common, though with separate sprues for the variants. What can be seen there is the single-seater top fuselage and the Flagon A plain delta wings. The weapon sprue was common to both, with the standard weapons loadout. There we see the common tail, flying surfaces, cockpit, landing gear doors, and the common fuselage halves. This shows the additional cockpit parts for the two-seater and the glazing, the canopies for both aircraft. The clear components were very nice, with clearly defined panel lines framing that made them easy to mask. Construction began with the cockpits. These are small tubs that build up and paint very nicely. As always, I used Privateer Press Blue for the interior. The Flagon A would get a pilot figure, but he needed a lot of trimming to fit. That was particularly awkward in this case. Fit is okay, though not great. I use Deluxe Products Perfect Putty, often thinned down with water. The flaps on the Flagon A were cut out so as to be posed in the lowered position, as seen when the aircraft is rolling off the flight line. After masking, I applied an initial coat of Tamiya light grey as a base for the black. Because I was going for metallic colours, I tend to work with Tamiya gloss or flat black as my base, whatever other make I'm using. The main coat was Vallejo metal colour 77702 beryllium. I used other metallic paints to create some variation, though to be honest with you, I wasn't entirely pleased with the results of the variation this time. Some of it in my mind looks a bit naff, to be honest with you, but okay. The undercarriage went on without too many issues. They differ with having twin and single nose wheels. I always find though with these Sukhois, getting the position of the main gear doors is always a bit tricky. They seem to have a funny alignment. Flory Pro Modeler wash was applied on both aircraft after a coating of Johnson's Clear. I wanted to go for slightly two different levels of weathering. On the Flagon A, I masked the panel lines, then applied another coat of beryllium. This will be the slightly more weathered of the two, and I wanted to create some different contrasts, put it that way. I've tried this before, and sometimes this approach looks absolutely dreadful and I have to repaint. This time it didn't work out too bad. There you have the two of them on their wheels, really ready for the decaling. At this stage I just focus on bringing each aircraft to completion individually. After another coat of Johnson's Clear, the decals were applied. These went on without any significant issues, though there were many small stencils. I worked by applying them from the largest to the smallest until I could no longer be bothered. You just get to a point where you can't see these things and they just become, I think, more trouble than they're worth. So the vast majority were used. The Flagon G was left without missiles, and I added intake covers, pitot tube covers and exhaust covers. It was all scratch made. Finished the pair of them there. Fairly pleased with the outcome. Interesting point on this that you can see there on the single seater, I used dry brushing of metallics to blend out the markings a bit, fade them in a bit more by dry brushing Games Workshop metallics, and you can see the cleaner finish of the two-seater. Another interesting point is if you see all these the panel markings and those red stencils in particular, when you look at the reference pictures you can't really see them, and it's almost like maybe I sometimes think model companies are going a little bit overboard with these as to how much you can see. Thankfully it wasn't at the levels of a 148 Phantom, so I'm not going to complain too much on that. You see you have two different approaches to building pretty much the same subject. One rolling off the flight line, ready to go on about to go on a sortie, and those missiles there hopefully to scare off a B-52 or something like that. And the other one just parked up, waiting for his next conversion flight. I liked the end result, so this was not an easy project. Namely, I don't get on with double builds. I made better progress when I focus on bringing a single aircraft to completion. I feel I have modelled the Su-15 comprehensively enough for the time being, having built the PM model Su-15 a while back. The difference between the Trumpeter and the far more basic PM kits are glaring. Overall, the Trumpeter kit quality is good with no major issues or causes for concern. Pilot figures would be appreciated. Now, if Zavista can do these so well, why not anyone else? I think they make a real difference to a build, and I like the differences they bring. So, once more, thank you for watching. Happy modelling. God bless. This is Chancellor North Wales signing out until the next build vid.